Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how you doing? How's your mama? How's your family? We back with another one. Today we got TJ Love's fight. Every UFC champion's chances of becoming a double champion. Kick my feedback, react like only I could do. There's a few UFC fighters I think, hey, they can be double champ. And even ones who aren't champ right now, I'm like, they could be double champ. Like Khamzat Chimaev. I've been a Khamzat Chimaev hater. I'm done. The motherfucker's gonna be middleweight champ, and if he moves up, he could be any one of those. He could be any one of those motherfucking light heavyweights. The only one who's gonna give him some resistance is Magomed Ankalaev. That's actually fucking interesting. Okay, but with it's Pereira's like, okay, Khamzat's gonna shoot. Is he gonna catch him like a flying knee or some shit, or a knee coming in, or a fucking uppercut? If he doesn't, okay, what's gonna get choked out within 2 minutes? You know what I'm saying? So there are some fighters who aren't even champion right now I can see being double champions. So I want to see what TJ go take this at. I'm gonna sit back, react like only I could do. I've yapped enough. Take it away, TJ.
Who will be the UFC's next double champion? It's been a very long time since
been a minute.
A true champ. Alex Pereira has gotten 2 belts in 2 different weight divisions, which is very impressive. But in terms
not
of
champ,
simultaneously holding 2 belts in 2 different divisions,
take Conor McGregor off of that.
Shit, that hasn't happened since Amanda Nunes did it back in 2022 against Juliana Pena. But with how good Ilia Topuria
zero defenses, take the motherfucker off that.
Probably is going to continue to be
Topuria can do it.
Very dominant in that division. It's very likely and probably very plausible that a high-level matchup between Islam and him is coming up in the near future.
It's not gonna happen.
So I wanted to go over.
I want it to happen. I pray that it happens. I think it's one of the highest level MMA fights we'll ever see in our lifetime, in anybody's lifetime ever. How about that? But it's like, man, Islam beats Arman. It's like, brother, I'm ready for second belt, brother. Is Bilal still champ? If he's not, okay, I'm moving up for sure. Then, okay, I guess you give me Charles Oliveira, brother. Give me Charles Oliveira. I fight him again, brother. I smashed him already, but this what the fans want. This what UFC want. I give Charles Oliveira. And let's say he beats Charles. You think he's going to stick around for Ilya then? At that point, it's 2026. Is Bilal still champ? Bilal's fucking 37, 38. It's like, okay, I want second belt, brother. I ran out of time, brother. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't think it ever happens.
Chances
it's wishful thinking. Wishful thinking, though.
Becoming the UFC's next double champion. Starting off with Pantoja versus Merab.
I don't think
no one is talking about this one, and for good reason. They're probably the least talked about champions in the UFC period, so I don't think a lot of people would put any bandwidth into thinking about how this fight would go. And also, Pantoja still has a lot of work to do at 125, especially after Brandon Moreno
has a lot of work to do.
Really good with this fight again.
He has a lot of work to do. I beat Brandon Moreno 3 times. So you don't want to count tough? Okay, I beat him twice already. Beat Brandon Moreno twice. I don't need to beat Tato Atara. He's not going to be fighting for a belt. I beat Manel Cap. I beat these guys already. Did I beat Manel Cap? Maybe I did. Is that the casual in me? Fuck. Is that the casual in me? Fuck. Yeah, beat him already. Yeah, I told y'all, man. Yeah. I beat all these guys already. That's what I'm trying to say. What more work do I have to do? Kai France. Yeah. I'm Nail Cap. Okay, that's interesting. But don't make it seem like he has a lot of work to do.
At 125, especially after Brandon Moreno looked really good with this fight against.
He's literally how Tom Aspinall. His status
for a third
in the flyweight is probably even better. But like, it's what Tom Aspinall has done in heavyweight. He's beating everybody except for like a couple names that he'll probably already beat. So you know what I'm saying? Don't disrespect my fucking glorious king, Alexandre Pantoja, like that.
A really fun fight for the belt, especially considering he is just coming off of a huge KO win over Steve Erceg.
And Moreno,
just
bro,
for the belt.
I love the baby assassin. Do not give him Pantoja
really fun fight.
For the 4th fucking time.
But even so, I think it would be a pretty simple one. Pantoja does not have the facilities to keep up with Merab's ungodly pace in wrestling. Pantoja has really good jiu-jitsu and grappling in general, and maybe could do something off his back,
but
even then, Merab's pace is going to be way too much. that top pressure in wrestling is going to give Pantoja practically zero openings to do anything off his back, and I think the strength difference is in general going to dominate the grappling exchanges. Pantoja technically has better striking. That's been shown through his fights with Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval. He can weather a lot of storms and throw in the later rounds even after being gassed from grappling and taking damage, so that's definitely the leg up he has against Merab, but I don't think that matters. Merab would definitely know that his striking is not as good as Pantoja's and would know that he has a huge strength, size, and wrestling advantage. So yeah, this one's not even a close fight or an interesting one to analyze. Merab probably wins by a really boring wrestling decision, and the funny thing is, even with all the advantages Merab has, I still don't think he would finish this fight. I'm giving Pantoja a 10% chance of winning in the event he somehow, through a crazy split decision, lands more strikes, but I don't even think I can give Pantoja a puncher's chance because he doesn't have that type of power. Merab versus Ilya. Obviously, this would never happen. They're boys, and boys
it would never happen.
Well, most of the time. But in any case, Merab versus
Ilya would knock out Merab. But if Ilya wasn't champion, it's like, okay, Merab could be a fucking double champion. I'm gonna be honest.
Ilya, I think, wouldn't be all too interesting either stylistically. On one side, you have a guy that's really dominant at one thing, but kind of shitty at everything else. And on the other, you have a guy that's deadly all over with probably technically the best boxing we've ever seen and great grappling, both wrestling and jiu-jitsu. They also train and spar all the time, so I'd imagine a really smart...
Quick like props. Ilya Topuria was in the best shape of his fucking life against Max Holloway. That dude was
wrestling and jiu-jitsu. They also train and spar
all the time. Is that
so
I'd
imagine a really smart and technical
guy let me know. Is that
Merab's weaknesses and even be able to nullify Merab's greatest strength, which is his non-stop wrestling. I said in this last video, but it's really important to explain it here. Ilya would probably be the first opponent that wouldn't be scared of Merab's pace and wrestling because he's so confident that he can stuff the takedown and strike freely. Every single one of Merab's opponents don't fight like themselves because they're in constant fear of Merab's takedowns.
We've never seen Ilya fight somebody who just shoot.
Ilya maybe take
Bryce
the
Mitchell
ground once
like
or
that.
twice,
You know,
but
Bryce
that
Mitchell
wouldn't
does
deter him
shoot,
from striking
so he does
freely.
count. But
he would be so
I don't really
confident in his
respect Bryce
ability
Mitchell's
to
wrestling
walk
as
down
everybody
Merab
else
and
does.
crack him with his boxing that there would be no freezing or thinking about his next attack. He's perfectly capable of defending the takedown, or at least most, sprawling well and controlling Merab, even if Merab bulks up to Ilya's size. And if Merab can't use his best and really his only weapon, he almost literally has nothing else. I mean, if he got rocked by Henry Cejudo's boxing, oh lord. Imagine what Ilya's boxing would do
that
to
shit,
Merab. This
would be bad. Because you remember there was a time where we were like, Sean O'Malley versus Ilya Topuria, let's see it. Could you imagine?
A nightmare matchup.
Remember that
Merab,
was a thing?
That's why I'm giving him a 1% chance of winning against his boy. The only way I would see this going for Merab is if he won this like Mario Batista beat Aldo. If Merab somehow just delays his doom from Ilya's hands and keeps a stalemate with Ilya,
not over 25 minutes,
idiots, then Merab could get his hand raised, but that's gonna happen like 1% of the time. All right, finally,
50-50.
Let's get into a fun one. Ilya Topuria versus Islam Makhachev is the fight of the decade. We're talking elite grappling, elite submission
fight of
game,
the fucking
course, elite boxing
universe,
respectively. In my opinion, skills-wise, number 1 and number 2 pound for pound. Really reminiscent of when Volk and Islam fought, but I think the key difference here is Ilya has that killer power that Volk never really had, at least to the extent of what Ilya has. And I mean, he experienced it firsthand. And of course, I really think that power will really translate well against Islam Makhachev. And like I said in last week's video, the striking is going to be very close and stylistically and strategically
watch that video.
Interesting.
We're going to watch that video.
Has that one punch knockout.
Who the fuck beats Ilya Topuria? I'm going to add that to the video list.
Lightweight, I'm sure of it. If he gets anyone in boxing range, he's putting their lights out easily, and Islam Makhachev will be no different. Islam has been compromised before.
He's glazing a bit, but he's not wrong.
And way back when, Adriano Martins by a nasty
Stop
right
showing
hand.
that shit.
Even though this is the smaller man, quote unquote, coming up to face Islam, that power is still deadly and something Islam needs to be very cautious about. As for Islam, he equally is a threat to putting Ilya's lights out. Islam Makhachev has phenomenal kickboxing and can easily keep Ilya at range. Launch a high kick on the
one of the greatest
man,
strikers in the world.
Like
I truly believe
Ilya's
that shit.
Been compromised before with a high kick at lightweight, and that's always going to be the
Stop
threat
showing
for the
that
shorter
shit
man.
too.
As for the grappling, we all know and have seen Islam
so
be one of the
long ago.
most skilled grapplers the UFC has ever seen.
Hey, man.
I wouldn't discount
Shit off
Ilya's
the
grappling
screen.
skills either. I would imagine if Ilya moves up, he would prepare a lot for the grappling, similar to how Volk prepared for his move to fight Islam the first time, and his camp
He'd be
would probably
prepared.
get Ilya's grappling back up to speed. But even then, Ilya's grappling has always been something he has had in his back pocket, and he has shown glimpses, of course, of that grappling in his fight with Bryce Mitchell and his early fights where he shot for takedowns way more often. How I see this fight playing out will be similar to the Arman Tsarukyan fight in terms of grappling sequences, with Islam pushing the pace and initiating grappling sequences, and Ilya defending skillfully. Given Ilya's confidence and his claims that he can submit Islam, Ilya
Especially
will
like
also try
Islam
to take down
shooting out in the open isn't really that good. He got to get you against that cage. You got to work that cage. He got to trip you. He got to throw you. You know what I'm saying? Look at that fucking picture right there. Yeah! That motherfucker Volk's the man! Let's go!
Islam and maybe get close. But in those first rounds when both guys are trying to take the other to the ground, they will realize they're at a stalemate, and this is where the fun will begin, with Ilya pushing his pressure to get into boxing range, while Islam will try to use his longer weapons to keep this at kickboxing range. And even though we're dealing with high-level grapplers, I think this will turn into a high-level striking match, considering how goddamn good they are, and someone will go
You
down.
need to watch some
And it's either a
Habib
punch
too.
that cracks Islam and Ilya becomes double champion, or Islam shuts him down with a high kick, and there is no in between. I give Ilya a 45% chance, though. He has
I give it
a
50-50.
really good chance, I think. This is Islam's division, and he has been looking at the top of his game recently.
the greatest lightweight of
Ilya
all time.
is now just entering his prime, but goddamn does he look good. Very close fight. Again, 45% chance. Islam versus Bilal, another example of this probably never happening because Islam and Bilal are boys.
Islam would
but
beat a
if
Bilal,
this were to happen, Islam would definitely have the upper hand. It's crazy. While watching the Leon Bilal fight, I was like, damn, if Bilal is doing that, Islam would have wrecked him and been double champion already. But of course, you have to remember
wouldn't
the
use
man.
that logic.
And now we have Bilal on top to consider as Islam's chance to be double champion, and it would be a really good chance. Firstly, they're like the exact same size. Whenever I see them train or in
Islam's
videos
bigger.
together, they look exactly identical.
Bilal's more
same
dense,
height
though.
and same weight. I'm not sure if it's Islam being a giant lightweight or Bilal being on the smaller side. of
Nah,
welterweights or
Islam's a
both,
fucking
but
giant
this might
lightweight.
be the only matchup in this collection of breakdowns where both guys are practically identical size-wise.
I think
And then
Islam will win
skills-wise,
this.
Forget about it.
I think Islam
is
will win
prob-
this fight striking on the feet. I think the grappling will be a stalemate, and Bilal maybe even be stronger in certain positions, but I think Islam will get him into kickboxing.
Probably better everywhere. His striking is world class. Despite Bilal having Canelo-like boxing, I think Islam would outstrike Bilal pretty easily and break him down technically. As for the grappling, it would practically cancel out, and Islam would probably want to keep this on the feet anyways, given the skill discrepancy there. And though I think Bilal is capable of at least getting one takedown on Islam, given that that's the most elite tool he has in his arsenal, and I would imagine he would shoot a lot, especially when he starts getting cooked on the feet, but I don't think he has the ability to keep a guy down like Islam Makhachev for too long. The one thing I will admit Bilal may have a leg up on Islam is probably his ungodly pace. It's not like Islam doesn't have good cardio, but Bilal's cardio is very, very good. And though he wouldn't be finding consistent success on takedowns and certainly on the feet, I think he would continue to wear on Islam and make it difficult for him to finish. I think this would be a pretty solid decision for Islam, and I'm giving him an 85% chance of winning this matchup, but Bilal can certainly make it interesting with his cardio. Obviously, the better and more interesting fight here would be Shavkat versus Islam, and would be an extremely dangerous fight for Islam, but that
I'm telling you right now, Shavkat is tall as fuck though, like 4 inches on Islam. But I'm telling you right now, fucking now, Bilal is a harder fight for Islam than Shavkat Rakhmonov is.
that's for another time. Now we get into probably the funniest matchup of this video, Bilal versus DDP.
That shit's cooked.
Let's forget about the name here. Bilal has a very little chance at beating Dricus
he ain't
Duplessis.
beating DDP.
We just went over how Bilal is the same
Bro,
size
it's crazy.
as a
Bro, you go
bigger
from
lightweight,
170
and Dricus Duplessis can
to
probably be
185.
in
That's
there
like a
with
big
couple
fucking
light
difference, bro.
heavyweights. Dricus is huge, strong, and has all the power in the world. Sure, he
DDP
fights like
can
a
go to
Looney
light
Tune
heavyweight
sometimes,
today.
but that goofy tank would decimate a guy like Bilal. If Ilya versus Islam was the highest level matchup we can make amongst champions, this is by far the goofiest. You have one guy that does practically one thing, and then on the other side, you have someone who just does everything technically wrong but still manages to pull out wins. This is goofy at its finest, but of course I'm taking the much bigger and much stronger guy here. Bilal would run into a brick wall if he tries to take DDP down, And if and when they start boxing, Dracus will catch him with something big, something goofy, and will put him down. I'm giving... Shit, I forgot his name. 0% chance. Ooh, okay, let's get into something very interesting.
Very interesting.
Immediately after his win against Izzy, was called out by Alex, who wanted to get the belt back at 185, but Dracus counter-offered with a fight at 205. So for the sake of this video, let's say this happens at 205. Yeah, I think Alex is currently looking unstoppable, and despite how big Dracus Duplessis is at middleweight, Alex is a pretty damn big light heavyweight. The question really would be if Dracus can get this to the ground, which, despite how not good Alex's grappling is, would still be.
We don't know that. You have to stop saying that. You have to stop saying that shit. We do not know how not good Alex's strikes. You cannot say Izzy took him down. That shit was 3-4 years ago. Pereira did a fucking phenomenal job against Jan Blachowicz, who can grapple, and that was 2 years ago at this point, too. Maybe even I don't. It was a while ago. Alex has had 5 fight camps since then. Feels like, bro. He's with Glover Teixeira every fucking day, bro. When it comes to making DDP pay, the reason I thought Islam would beat DDP is because I thought Izzy would make DDP pay for his overswings. We knew Sean Strickland lost. He didn't make DDP pay. Once DDP was able to come forward, throw at will, not pay for overextending with counters, DDP said, okay, I'm just going to go forward. And that's what you thought. That's what adjustment you thought Israel Adesanya was going to make. Where, okay, DDP's overextending with the right hand. Oh, shit. Anderson Silva, Forrest Griffin type counter. Like, that's what you're thinking. Izzy did not do it. Alex Pereira's going to stand his ground, and he'll eat one. Or he'll make you miss and make you look goofy. He'll make you overextend, and that left hook's coming. You can't take those over and over again. So, yeah, I'm picking Alex Pereira.
Big Alex is, and also I would imagine Alex would only train takedown defense if he ever fought DDP. Because, of course, DDP would be really dumb if he wanted to stand up with Alex. It's funny because this matchup, striking-wise, is probably between the most skilled kickboxer on the roster against one of the least technical, correct kickboxers on the roster. So, again, it would really come down to if Dracus is strong enough to take this fight to the ground. And you know what? I think he can. His takedowns are explosive,
could be able to get him to the ground.
Tough for Alex to defend at least all the time, and I think Dracus can, for 1 or 2 rounds, dare I say, get the takedown and keep Alex there for a while to edge out a round or 2 when he was getting cooked on the feet. But I think eventually Alex would find that opening to take out DDP if DDP wasn't constantly grappling, which I don't think he will, and would end Dracus's chances of becoming double champ. I would give this a 15% chance of Dracus pulling this off.
Damn.
Alex would definitely have a huge advantage in this fight, but with Dracus and how he pulls
15,
out wins out of his ass, you never know what's going to happen. And finally, of course, we have Alex versus John Jones. And who knows? John has already called for this fight, and in typical John fashion.
I don't know, bro. You know, John Jones does this shit. That dumbass shit, you know, and Stipe was able to get this close and sometimes hit him. You give that opportunity to Alex, you're fucked. But John Jones ain't gonna waste no time. John Jones will get that fight on the ground. He'll go open up with elbows. He'll probably come in lighter for an Alex Pereira fight, like he did with Stipe. He wouldn't allow Alex Pereira to even throw any fucking strikes.
Fashion, if he doesn't retire after the Stipe fight, he would call out Alex for the fight and claim it's the only fight to make and really promote the fight as the fight of the year, especially with how much of a superstar Alex is right now. So sorry, Tom, let's go over this fight and see how it plays out. I actually detailed a move for Alex to go to
heavyweight. We watched that video.
Physically, he can match up pretty well to John Jones if he bulks up. They're about the same height and build, or at least when John Jones was at 205, and I think Alex would be capable of getting to, at the very least, 245 if he really dedicated himself to the bulk and getting stronger for heavyweight. And of course, that power would be gnarly. I already think if Alex
be more dense,
any heavyweight or any person on the planet,
less body fat,
he's knocking them the fuck out. So with more mass behind his punches, he could very well kill a man. And of course, for Alex to win this fight, he would have to land. And for John, I don't think he's going to let that happen. I said in this video,
he's going to get hands
Alex
on him at all times.
Heavyweight, he would have a very similar career to Cyril Gane, and similarly, if he fought Jon Jones, I think he would play out very similar to Cyril Gane. I don't care how much muscle mass Alex puts on or how much training Alex does, he will never catch up to Jon Jones' grappling, and he will be put on his ass immediately. I'm giving Alex a 10% chance of winning. I still think in the seconds
this is
disrespectful. Alex can launch something to KO Jon, but alas, Jon Jones would be way too smart to let that happen for the most part. So yeah, here's the final rankings of the matchups and who I think is most likely going to be the double champion. Also, here are my personal favorite matchups, with Ilya versus Islam, of course, being on top. Now, what do you guys think about these matchups?
What do you guys think? What are some current UFC champions that can become double champion? What are some that aren't champion right now, but you're like, hey man, watch out, they can be double champion? Let me know down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you enjoyed. Let me know. Suggest some more videos if you want me to watch. Suggest some more channels. I'm open to everything. You know, no more UFC. Still got like 2 more weeks. It's tough, bro. It's been fucking rough. It's been like 3 more weeks. It's been fucking rough, but we're gonna push through. We're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? So help the algorithm. Share this to a friend. I know they enjoyed just like you did. Like, comment, subscribe. You gotta go home, but you gotta get out of here, man. Hot, yay.